What's up, the internet? This is Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, bringing you another Transformers masterpiece review. And today I am reviewing the masterpiece Barricade. This is MPM 5, I believe. Barricade. This is actually, I purchased this from TF Source, so not my usual, but still nice. The words of Captain Hammer, more or less. But yeah, this figure is actually pretty good. So I've never made any secret of the fact that I don't really particularly care for the Bayformer designs. But the engineering on some of these masterpiece style figures is just borderline brilliant. And I think this guy handles it fairly well in that he doesn't really look like a car. I mean, he's got car parts, I suppose. And a lot of this was inherent in the movie one designs had more car parts, but they just turned into this like weird mishmashes that those of us who have been Transformers fans for years didn't really recognize and still don't really like. But you know, whatevs. Opinions, right? Opinions being what opinions are. But yeah, he does a really good job of turning from a good looking car mode into this like weird like nightmare monster, and it's that transformation that attracts me to these figures. And so I think he does a pretty good job. A little bit of kibble back here mostly. I think this is more or less design features. But you get a little bit of window on the arm, and of course all this chunk here, which I think tucks away really well. These parts here stick up. That's in the character design. All in all, though, I think that they did a pretty good job with it. In terms of articulation, his head is on a ball joint. His head is on like multiple joints, actually. But most importantly, it's on a ball joint. It'll go around. It'll turn a lot. You kind of have to move him up to get his like protruding chin around his shoulders. His head looks all the way up and a little bit down. The head looking up a lot is really good for when you have him for like crouched poses, and he does crouched poses really well. But when you have him really low to the ground and you kind of want to have him looking up menacingly, and he does that well. He does have an opening mouth, which does not, I think, look really all that great. Maybe if you open it up a little bit, it's not even a little bit. If you open it up a little bit, then it starts to look like he's got his mouth open a little bit. But when you open it up a lot, like, I don't know, it's like the hinge joint. The hinge joint for that mouth is like way too close to the end of his mouth. And so just the angle on his jaw seems all wrong. But, you know, whatevs. Shoulder joint, shoulders on a detent right here. Goes all the way around on that detent. You've got this little part here moves around. This side on mine is floppy. This one's not. But this one is. And that's kind of a bummer. Got an upper bicep swivel. Got an elbow joint here with like ton of range on that. No wrist articulation at all. There's no bending. There's no swivel. It would be nice if they could integrate a swivel somehow. But you know, you just kind of have to make do with it with what you got. His thumb is on a joint that moves a little bit. And the three fingers are molded together in one piece. They're also on a joint. So he can kind of grasp things. His hand doesn't really open more than this. If he had to like even just a little bit more range on that thumb, would have been nice. But you know, these are just tiny little reservations I've got. He has a waist joint, but because like they basically just like get in the way of his hips basically, you've got this piece that comes down here, right? And his hips literally just like slide over that and pretty much just lock that in place. So I guess if you move his legs forward a bit, you can get a little bit of swivel out of it. Not even a whole lot, but a little bit. Or let me see if I can get all this out of the way. There's this joint in here, and if you pull this kibble down a little bit, then you can get a tiny bit of waist articulation out of that. But you have to like de-tab this. Not that it really tabs in all that securely as well. In fact, I want to point out that because this doesn't really tab in very securely, you can basically give him like a faux torso. What am I trying to say? Ab crunch. And I mean, I don't really like it because basically what it does is disconnects his whole upper body from this like kibble back here. And so I don't think it looks really all that good. But it's something that you can do to just kind of, maybe if you're like having him crouch a bit, and you can still bend this to kind of cover that gap, you know. And so, I don't know. Decide with it what you want. Legs will go all the way forward, a fair way back. They'll click out. That's actually a really nice click for his Van Damme is about 110%, maybe 107%, which is pretty good. He's got a cut thigh swivel right here. His knee, at first I was like, man, his knee articulation is eh. Then I was putting him into a pose and realized that he's got double jointed knees. And so his knee articulation is actually pretty decent. So that's definitely something there. Ankle articulation, his ankle doesn't really go back much, mostly moves forward. You get a fair range of tilt side to side on this. And that's it for articulation on this guy. He comes with exactly one accessory, which is the weapon mace thing. And it comes with its own stand. Like, I'm a little bit jealous. Like, none of the other figures, I don't know. You don't get a lot of Masterpiece figures that come with their own stands for just the weapons. To attach this, you basically have to untransform his entire arm, though. So you pull this part out here. This is all spoiler alert, by the way. You're going to see this in a little bit. Fold this out, fold this in. Untab his fist from there. Rotate this around all the way like that. Untab his tire from here, there. Slide it up on this little sliding hinge. Bring it around till it clicks in there. Now that you've got this all done, you can take this. There's a slot right here, which is actually where the tire plugged in. You can plug in this tab into that slot and then refold this joint back up. And there he is with his big psycho weapon thing. And to be perfectly frank, I don't think it looks that great. It's definitely not worth, untransforming his whole entire arm. Because there's no way to, A, get his hand hidden away, and B, get this window to fold up a bit more. And so it's at the point now where it no longer looks like an arm, it looks like a car part, I mean, like this, it looks like an arm with car parts on it. This just looks like a car. And it's a chunk of a car hanging off. So, I don't know. Since the next step is to get him transformed up, I'm actually not going to untransform that. So, I will show you in more detail on this arm what specifically I did. So there's a tab here. We're going to untab that, bring it around this double hinge, right? While we're bringing that around, let's pull this out. So this is on a little hinge thing here. If you pull this out a bit, then you can start to rotate it around here. And that will rotate freely until it just fits into place like that. You're going to extend out this piece here and fold down that little cover. The wrist clips into the wheel, so we're going to unclip that. Open up his hand all the way, put his thumb into there. That's going to come around here part of the way, and then you're going to rotate it on this joint here. Unfortunately, that's not a wrist swivel, that's just a transformation joint. Wow. The wheel you're going to untab from here, and this is just on a little pin, and it will swing freely. You're going to push this up, because see it slides back and forth. You're going to slide it up, push it all the way around, and then when it gets to the other side, there's a tab that's going to click into place, and you'll hear and feel it click into place. When you're getting this, then you're going to make sure that this tab fits into the door, and then there's a slot on the door that fits into a tab here. And that'll all pull that all together, and then you're going to open this and do that, and that is basically like half the car. This one is mostly done because we already put him in his weapon mode. We're just going to pull out this door, make sure that gets into the proper place. If you're having issues with the fitting of getting this door around, it helps if you bend his elbow all the way, and then that'll give you a little bit more space to pull that door out so you can rotate it properly. Peg that into place. Put this all into place. Now what we want to do is we want to come over here, pay attention to his head. This is actually a fun little detail that he does. So you can see here, you've got this little armature in his neck, and his head's on a ball joint. And you can, if you hold that and you push back on it, this whole armature folds back. But as it folds back, I'm doing this wrong. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Untab this. You want to grab this and pull on it fairly hard. This actually tabs in really well. He's got a die-cast piece here. And this die-cast piece, I think these two die-cast pieces clip into each other, and die-cast on die-cast always makes for a really firm connection. He's got die-cast, by the way, on his feet, and then in this central section here. So once we get that untabbed, when you pull back his neck joint to get him transformed back, I'm still jumping ahead of myself, aren't I? Whatever. Forget I said anything. I'm dumb. Leave me a comment. Tell me how dumb I am. Scale of 1 to 10. If you don't say 10, you're a liar. Alright, so I've got the windows back. We're going to take this and we're going to fold out this part here and fold out this part here. That's going to kind of start to go together. Let's take care of his legs real quick. There's these little doohickey panels right here. They're going to fold in like that. We're going to take, there's actually a double joint in here. This is kind of similar to what the Human Alliance one was, except they go out all the way instead of only like part of the way, which, by the way, is one of the most annoying things about the Human Alliance figure. By the way, I've got a Human Alliance Barricade for sale if anybody wants it. Haha, leave me a message. I'll sell them for $30 shipped anywhere in the continental US. Fold these. This all tabs together right back here. All right. Now that I've got all this squared away, we want to take this, bend his, there's, I can't really show you very well. There's a big old pin right here. You want to bend his shoulders at that pin to kind of move them back into their car position. And then you want to fold this back, and it, as his head folds away, this whole like weird part automatically folds back. It's actually kind of cool. It's just kind of, so you want to fold that all the way back like that, but then you want to keep folding his head back and back and back until it is all the way back. Because now you're going to bring up this armature, and his head is kind of fit into this hole here. So that's how you know that's in the right place. Kind of maneuver these window wings around the front windshield. The front windshield is going to come in. There's these tabs here, and it's going to basically just clip into the front of that. We're going to maneuver these most of the way into position, but not all the way into position yet. These diagonal bumper parts. We are going to pull this out part of the way, not all of the way, but part of the way. Okay, so now we're getting into the final assembly here. You're just going to make sure that this is aligned all the way flat. Put his door windows, his door wings up, because actually we want them way up, because these hands have to go past the door wings. So you're going to take this, his arm is on now on basically what's a double hinge. You're going to fold it back and start to bring it into position. When it comes to putting it all the way in position, I found that it's best to bend this down a little bit and align it with the bumper in like this. And then to like bring this whole part up with that bumper. Make sure that bumper is aligned straight now. Once it's straight, you can pull this up all the way. That will keep that bumper to be straight. Then you've got these into position. You're just going to, there's these tabs back here. That'll go in to a slot on the back of the car. Like at this point, really, it's just all about hunting down tabs and slots, fitting them together. Plugging that in. You want to make sure that his hands are out like this. That'll give you plenty of space to bring this section down. I want to make sure that his windows are in place. That hood came undone. You'll notice that I didn't put these tabs in. It's because I'm dumb. We'll just bring this out. Pull this down just a little bit. Bring these down just a little bit. Weasel that into position. Yay, I undid my dumb. If only life was always that simple. Now all you've got left is this top panel here. You're just going to put it in back first so these tabs go in. This will engage. There's a tab in the front that will engage in. Then you're going to bring the two halves of this light around. The blue half is going to go up first. The red half is going to slide into that. And there you have Barricade. I bumped my camera like a million times. Barricade in his vehicle mode. And god damn, he looks great in this mode. Got the old punishing the slave. The police Decepticon symbol there. Police on the side, 643. His Oklahoma plate, which by the way is the most boring plate of all time. Sorry, anybody from Oklahoma, but you know it's true. There he is on the underside. Everything fits together quite nicely. It is remarkably engineered, and that's what really drives me to these movie masterpiece figures. It's not because I particularly like the design. It's that in the movie, it was so clearly and impossibly, it was so clearly impossible. You know, there's no physical way that that robot could turn into that car or vice versa. It's just, it isn't going to happen, you know. But then when somebody has come and done it, like with an actual toy, with an actual, you know, piece of plastic and metal, they made it happen. They made it happen look pretty good. Like, that impresses me. This has no storage, rightfully so, except for this little stand thing here. You take one of these spikes here, plug it into, there's a hole right here. Squeeze it into that. This tab fits into a slot in there. And this is, you can have this on display. What a lovely display. It's like a little trophy or something, like an award. Put a little plaque down here that says best Decepticon in the first, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, this is pretty nice. I like it a lot. It's a pretty decent design. I like the execution of it. This is going to look fantastic on my movie masterpiece shelf. And yeah, if movie masterpiece figures is what you're collecting, this is actually, I think, one of the better movie masterpiece figures we've got. In ranking, I would say probably Bumblebee and Prime are really good. I think Bumblebee is maybe a little bit better than Prime. I think Barricade is better than than them. There's an Ironhide coming out soon, and I'm looking forward to that because it looks pretty good. But of course, I haven't played with it yet. But anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. You guys are fantastic. Go ahead and leave me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, do all that crazy stuff, because a little bit of crazy never hurt anybody. And I will catch you on the flip side. See ya. Have a great day and be good to each other. Bye.